Hello everyone, I'm Sito Chui and today I'm going to talk about internet censorship beyond China, the politicization of economy. So this is my presentation outline and let's get started. First, let's start with the background information of politicization of economy. This term actually means relating economic activities to political conflicts. China's political system constructs socialism with Chinese characteristics based on Marxism. So we can see that in the history that the party state emphasizes economic and political integration in order to win political legitimacy. For example, Mao Zedong's working class liberation in developing agriculture and industries. Also, Deng Xiaoping's open policy in driving rapid economic growth. So rich political element could be found in the history of economic development in China. It is not surprising that this phenomenon continues under the globalized expansion of economy. Internet expansion comes along with the rapid economic growth in China. The graph on the left-hand side is from the Congressional Research Service, so it recorded the constant GDP growth, 6 to 7% between 2011 and 2018. As for the right-hand side, the graph is from CNNIC and it indicated the increasing size of netizens in China from slightly above 70,000 in 2016 to above 85,000 in 2019. Internet penetration ratio also increased from around 50% to 61% between 2016 and 2019. The large Chinese market with great purchasing power is very attractive to foreign corporates. However, conflict from cultural difference and political issues are resulted from economic globalization. The internet becomes a battleground for Chinese netizens to show their anger, such as in the Korean Sade incident. A petition calling Lotte Mart the enemy of the Chinese people is widely spread on Weibo, adding fuel to the boycott movement. The D&G advertisement is another example. The leakage of the designer's chat screenshot shows that he is insulting the Chinese and make the Chinese netizens very angry. So we could see that internet amplifies China's political voice and strengthens her influence in the international community. The China NBA dispute will be used as the case study in this presentation. It is related to the recent anti-extradition bill movement in Hong Kong. It shows the politicization of the economy because NBA is simply a business cooperation, but however unexpectedly end up as a political conflict. Involving both China and the US, the incident illustrated the diplomatic battle and a war of ideology between the two nations. The political, economic, and social aspects are all related because these incidents involve the government, commercial sector, as well as the public. China is the biggest NBA market outside the United States. In average, 7 million Chinese have watched the basketball game in the previous season, according to the SCMP. On the 4th of October, Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, posted an image on Twitter saying "Fight for freedom and stand with Hong Kong." This message relates to the Hong Kong anti-extradition bill movement, so it makes the Chinese netizens very angry and lead to the boycott movement on the NBA games, such as destroying the tickets. Spamming was found on Twitter, Facebook, and Sina Weibo, using California's independence and the 9/11 incidents to mock the freedom of speech claimed by the US. So here it comes to a question. Are these netizens the 50 Cent Party? Theoretically speaking, they are not the 50 Cent Party because of their provocative comments. According to Ping, Pan, and Roberts, the 50 Cent Party are trained to prevent conflict and stop discussion with collective action potential. The 50 Cent Party are hard to identify as they won't engage in debates and talk about some controversial issues. However, the case might be different on Twitter. It is analyzed that the comments under Morey's tweets mostly come from accounts that are created recently and have very few followers and engagements. There are potentially fake accounts used to manipulate online public opinion of the Chinese netizens. Apart from the possibility of 50 Cent Party, the spamming could also be explained with cyber nationalism. According to Jiang, initiated by the public itself, Chinese cyber nationalism is a non-government sponsored ideology and movement, a natural extension from China's century-long nationalist movement, but different from the CCP's official version of patriotism. The CNNIC report showed that more than 70% of the Chinese netizens come from urban areas. Since the urban areas enjoy better economic development, people have higher sense of belonging and pride towards the nation. The investigation revealed that the majority of Chinese people tend to be satisfied with the increasingly relaxed freedom of expression. Moreover, the Chinese do not want a westernized form of democracy, as they see problems in the Western countries. It is contradictory that the Chinese people are accepting Western consumer products but resisting the Western political ideology. This eventually evolved into conflicts, and the author further indicated that anger is a display of the Chinese cyber nationalism. Meanwhile, it is also revealed that the CCP government seems to allow loopholes in the Great Firewall. Assuming that partial of the netizens spamming on Twitter and Facebook are not the 50 Cent Party, they use the VPN to cross the wall, which is called fanqiang in Chinese. Although the Great Firewall banned Twitter and Facebook in China, violating the wall is tolerated as long as the netizens are following the political stance of the party. The NBA disputes become more political with the response from the party states. Not only did the Chinese Consulate General in Houston express their rigorous attitude towards the incident, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Geng Shuang, also severely accused the Houston Rockets. He stated that cooperating with China but not understanding China's public opinion is not feasible. So how did the China business and media respond? While the CCTV and Tencent canceled the broadcast of NBA games, Chinese celebrities such as Wu Jinyan and Fan Chengcheng also rejected participating in related events. Chinese companies canceled their sponsorship and business cooperation with the Houston Rockets, such as FIFO and Li Ning. Online shopping sites such as Taobao also removed Rockets' products. Later, CCTV and Tencent resumed the broadcast and boycott narrowed down to only the Houston Rockets. The government's attitude also became less stern, as Geng Shuang responded that sports exchange promotes friendship between China and the US. The NBA basketball game recorded full audience in Shanghai, while there are also police managing order prevents people from burning tickets and showing the anti-NBA banners. Foreign media mock that this is the Chinese-style boycott because the Chinese public are not unified enough in boycotting the NBA. Chinese netizens also expressed comment like disappointed and single-use patriotism towards the incident. Meanwhile, internet censorship occurred and lists Rockets and Hong Kong as the sensitive words. The CCPPD also ordered the withdrawal of NBA-related news to cool down the topic and called it not to bias public opinion in sensitive times. This proved that the collective action theory is correct, whereas the political criticism theory is incorrect. As the issue went on, public opinion became more rigorous and carried the potential of collective action. The CCP prioritized social order and stability, so NBA-related content is censored in order to calm down the public, although it is against the political stance of the party states. Moreover, opposite opinion is subject to oppression and detention. A staff from a sport company posted a picture of the Pokemon Rocket team. Netizens got mad at his post, and the company had to apologize for this incident. Another fan of the Rockets also got arrested by the police as he commented, "I live and die with the team, come and catch me," and pretended to burn the national flag. News reframing was found in the incident, which is a common method used by the CCP government. The Hong Kong protests called for the 5 demands, but the CCP reframed it as the Hong Kong independence, thus arguing that the territorial integrity is threatened. Moray's tweet only stated, "Stand with Hong Kong," but the Chinese netizens link it with Hong Kong independence. The slogan saying boycott NBA, safeguard territorial sovereignty, is a clear evidence of news reframing. Besides, CCP also reports sentiment-oriented news instead of what really happened in the Hong Kong protests. For example, Fu Guohao, who is a Global Times journalist, was attacked during the occupied airport. This incident was used to arouse people's anger and lead to their stance of opposing the Hong Kong protest. The NBA dispute also reflected the war of ideology. The USA and Western countries uphold freedom of speech and democracy, so it is Moray's personal freedom to say whatever he wants to say. In contrast, China embraces territorial sovereignty, patriotism, and nationalism. So Moray is offending China as he is interrupting China's internal affairs. On the other hand, some may think that Internet failed to strengthen China's political influence. First, the international community opposed censorship, as freedom of speech is regarded as a basic human right. The strict censorship and firewall in China show that the government is not liberal and democratic enough in governing its people. Second, the internet exposes the dark side of China, such as piracy of NBA games after the cancellation of broadcasts on major media channels, and not respecting the intellectual property. The uncivilized spamming behavior also shows that the Chinese netizens are rude and unrespectful. It is widely criticized by the international community, so the country's image is damaged rather than increasing China's international status. However, Internet is actually a sign showing how foreign corporates are obeying to China's political stance in order to profit from the huge market. For example, in a D&G incident, the founders make an apology video to China after the racism accusations. The Zhou Ziyu incident is another example, as the artist apologized after making Chinese netizens mad for holding a Taiwan flag in a TV show. Airline companies also changed the name of Taiwan to comply with the China's political stance. The online public opinion of Chinese netizens is very powerful in urging overseas companies to obey, as the corporates want to earn money and do business in China's large market. It is certain that China's influence has increased and presenting a more powerful political voice in the world. It is predicted that the internet regulation would become more adaptive by combining both top-down and bottom-up approaches. Government uses censorship and news reframing to control the information, and using detention to generate the deterrent effect. Netizens use human flash searching and cyberbullying to oppress those who are not patriotic, such as forcing them to apologize and boycotting the company. The effort from the government regulation and cyber nationalism unify online public opinion and use it to threaten foreign companies in order to achieve the party's political agenda. However, order is still the most prioritized because it is the foundation of economic development, according to President Xi. In considering the state-social relationship, the CCP government uses strict internet regulation to maintain a large degree of control. The government is largely paternalistic, but being more adaptive and lenient when comparing to the past. The Chinese netizens are also having the room to express discontent as long as they are not threatening the political stability and legitimacy. In conclusion, NBA is a clear example of politicizing the economy. Both the government and the public have participated in internet regulation, as we have discussed cyber nationalism, the Great Firewall, censorship, and news reframing. The NBA disputes also proved that the collective action theory is correct regarding to the CCP's internet regulation. Behind the NBA dispute, it is actually a war of ideology between China and the US in the light of economic globalization. Internet regulation is also predicted to be more adaptive in the future, and the combination of top-down and bottom-up approaches increase its effectiveness. Last, the internet amplifies China's political voice and strengthens her influence in the international community. This is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening.